Bismillah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students and viewers, we shall discuss today and talk on chapter number 2, bid package. So as you know that chapter number 2 is preparing the bid package. We are going to follow the book, name is Construction Management. It's a 5th edition published by Wiley in 2017. So the author of the book are Daniel W. Halpern from Purdue University and Bolivar, a senior from Colorado State University. So we are going to follow their book. If you want to study more than the slides, so you should read the book. Okay. So my dear students, as you know, this video is for the civil engineers and for our course Construction Engineering and Management. So as you have seen in the syllabus, so this is we are going to discuss chapter number 2, preparing the bid package. So let me you should understand that the book, the way this book is written, that every time they are going to introduce a topic that is not related to the title of the chapter. Okay. So title of the chapter is preparing the bid package, but they are going to discuss first topic is liability and proof engineering. So the book authors they think that if they cannot make a full chapter, so they should like discuss in short one under one heading this new topic. Every time they will be presenting something new, not related to the chapter. So that so here we are going to title is first heading is liability and proof engineering. Okay. Liability, the issue of the liability associated with the building collapse or failure has been an issue of major concern. Primary liability resides with the design professional. A proof engineering, a neutral third party to conduct review of the design. Okay. So what they say is, there is a collapse of any structure or any high-rise building or any bridge. So then we need to fix the responsibility. Who is responsible? If there is a design fault, failure occurred due to the wrong design or faulty design. So then it means the design professional or the designer company, so prepared the design, so they are responsible. Okay, liability will rest on them. So of course, after every accident, there will be investigation. If there is a construction fault, fault from the contractor, so it will be contractor will be responsible. But if there is, in case there is a design fault, so designer will be responsible. Now what they say is, this is a German practice that you should do proof engineering for any critical design where you think that this part is critical. So you should hire a neutral third party or a company, a neutral company, who will check the calculations and review the design, who will check the calculations and the drawings and verify that the design is correct. Okay? Design project for critical elements, so they should review the design, okay, by a neutral third party. So this is a German practice, and this we call it a proof engineering, that we are going to hire a company, a neutral third party or a company, who is not like hired for the design of the project. So from outside, it's a neutral third party company who will review the design, and verify that the calculations and the design of the critical elements is correct, so that the project should not fail after construction or during construction due to any wrong design or any faulty design. Okay. So this is we discuss liability and proof engineering. We will move forward. So next title heading in the book is project concept and need, okay, or project development. So we are going to start civil engineering projects that there is, or if there is a need, we are going to start the project. Okay. So first we will start that there is a after the need, we will start that there is a we prepare the conceptual design. Okay. We will prepare the model or architectural design. So it's conceptual or model design should be ready, will be agreed and approved. Then we will move forward with the preliminary or detailed designing, design of elements or civil engineering, design will be start later. First, we should agree on the architectural design, that whether it's a high-rise building, so how many story, it's 80-story building, how it look like, it's a concrete structure or it's a steel structure. So main things we should agree on how the building from outside look like. If there is a bridge or interchange, so how the interchange will look like. Okay. So whether it's a box structure of the bridge or it's eye girders, whatever, main things should be decided. So once we have the approval of the conceptual design, then we are going to start with the detailed design, okay, final design. In the final design, we will prepare all the elements, design of the elements and detail. So here the work of civil engineering will start, that they will design the detail of the foundations, okay, size of the foundations, their reinforcement, size of the column height, section, cross section of the columns, their height, and their how much is reinforcement inside, so strength of concrete, and similarly they will design the beams, okay, section of the beams, and decide the strength of the concrete, and put the reinforcement, detailed reinforcement, how the bars will be located inside the beam. So similarly for design for slabs or any other structure, whether it's a water supply project or a sewerage project or any other kind of project. Okay. So we will prepare the design, final design and detailed design, and prepare the drawings. So all the contract documents, everything will be ready, here in the final design. All the first we should have the book of specifications, okay, the general condition, particular conditions, and then all the set of drawings, okay, whether it's a structural, architectural, any plumbing or electrical design. So all everything design will be completed. Then once design is ready, so it means the bid package is complete. So now the contractor can take these set of drawings and the contract documents. So bid package is complete, that can be issued to the construction companies, okay, who can study those documents and prepare their bid. Okay. So there will be a decision to release for bid. Okay. So now the consultant of the project will say that all the documents are ready and they can be released to the construction companies. So they are ready to be released to the construction companies for the bidding process. Okay. So after this, we will have we will advertise notice to bidders. This means that project will be advertised. So it will be an advertisement in the newspaper, the way the department want to advertise. So it will say that, okay, for depending upon the projects, in the advertisement they will say, okay, the department of highway who want to build this road or this bridge, and interested contractors can get the documents and set of drawings and prepare the bid and submit the bid on such date in this office or on this address. Okay. So it will be noticed to the bidders, okay, to the construction companies. So now the bid period and receipt of proposals. So bid period depends. It could be 15 days, 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, or 90 days, depending upon how big is the project. Okay, how much time consultant want to give to the contractors to prepare the bid proposal. Okay. So contractors will take those design documents, study those documents and those book of specifications, general condition, particular conditions, and then prepare their bid and fill in the bill of quantities. Their if quantities are given, so they will fill the unit rate and total amount, and similarly the total amount of the project. So then they will submit the project bid at a specific where the owner or his consultant they have specified that bid will be received on this such date at 10 a.m. room number this. Okay. So the day they will there will be time, given that the bid will be received until this time. Okay, say for example 10 a.m. Okay. So every contractor have submitted the bids, and then bids will be opened on the same day in front of the contractors, okay, the construction companies on the same day, and the price of the bid will be announced loudly so that all the construction companies will know that how much is the price for each company. Okay. So based on this, then your a consultant will review those documents and select the, probably based on the lowest bidder, they will select the contractor. They will select the contractors. Now the selected contractors, they will, bring the performance bond and sign the contract or submit the insurance. Then they will give him a notice to proceed. Okay, they will give him after signing contract, they will give him a notice to proceed that they can occupy the construction site and start the construction. So from this notice to proceed, construction period of the project will start. The construction period, whether it's a 1 year or 2 years project, 3 years project, so it's a construction period will start. And then contractor will be day by day, they will be doing the construction, construct the project, and then at the end of the project, there will be a joint inspection with the consultant and owner and contractor. So they will do the inspection, and after this inspection, if everything fine, so then project will be handed over to the owner. So by this way, the project will complete. So this is like from starting from the project until completion. This is like a project concept and need and project development cycle. Okay. So we will move forward with the next slide. So now this is the definition they have put for the drawings. All drawings, calculations, and technical information of a like nature provided by the engineer to the contractor under the contract, and all drawings, calculation samples, patterns, models, operation and maintenance manuals, and other technical information of a like nature submitted by the contractor and approved by the engineer are called drawings. Okay, so this is the definition for the drawings. But for you is like anything, any paper or any drawing on which you can do construction, we can say it's a drawing. So here, see in this, you have studied the courses AutoCAD and drawing, so you are familiar with the drawing. This is just shown a sample of a layout sketch and outline specification on a drawing. So this is just shown as a sketch of a drawing. Okay, so you are familiar with the drawings. Here, this is now next is the estimate. Okay. So on the estimate, we will study a separate chapter on estimation. Okay. But here is just to give you some idea about, when an estimate is a calculation of the quantities of work and their expenses. The total probable expenses to be incurred on the work is known as estimated cost of the work. The estimated cost is a close approximation of its actual cost. So estimate, we prepare the project estimate. So usually we have, numbers, serial number and items description, and there is a, we take out the quantity takeoff. So how much quantity for each, and then what are the units for each quantity, and then how much is the unit price and total price. Okay, so here like you have utilities or so here there is a sewer cost for sewer, for gas, for site work, for paving, okay, for concrete work, okay, for landscaping. This is just that we description, quantity, unit price, and total price. Okay. So communication. There is a design related cost. So this is just to let you know that when the bill of quantities or the estimate. So inshallah there will be another separate chapter in that we will prepare a estimate in detail. Okay, so you will understand. But here is just let you understand that there is a estimate. Okay, this is approximate. We are going to for every project we will prepare the estimate. Okay, so it's there are different types of estimate, but that's like you can say the bidding estimate for the project that the contractor they have submitted the bid, so they prepare this estimate and prepare the total price of the project. When they put the unit price and total price, then they add up at the end, they get the project. So here in the next slide here they are going to put notice to bidders. Okay, notice to bidders for constructing sewerage system improvement contract B. Okay, Central State Hospital. So it's like they are going to put a notice to the bidders that a sealed proposal will be received for constructing sewerage system improvement contract B, okay, for the Georgia Building Authority Hospital. So it's like an advertisement of the project. Okay, notice bidders that advertisement of the project so that the bidders they can get the documents and prepare their bid. This is just a sample is shown, notice to bidders. Sample is shown. We don't need to go into detail. So let's see now that we are coming to the title of our chapter, bid pack. Okay. So first they put the definition of bid. What is bid? Okay. The contractor's priced offer to the owner for the execution and completion of the works and remedying for any defects therein in accordance with the provisions of the contract as accepted in the letter of acceptance is called bid. So bid price is the like priced offer from the contractor side that contractor submit the bid to the owner and consultant will review that bid. So this is like the offer from the contractor side that they are ready to complete this project with this much price. Okay, this is the price offer from the contractor side to the owner that they are ready to build this project with this price. Let's say bid price offer from the contractor side. Now the topic of this chapter was preparing the bid package. Okay, so now bid package diagram shows very clearly what are the documents included in the bid package. So there is a proposal form, and then there is another book is a general condition book of general conditions. There is another book is related to special conditions. Another book is technical specifications. And then there is a plans and drawings or set of drawings for the project, okay, design drawings. So we will go in detail with all these bid package with these books, what is mean by general conditions or special conditions or technical specifications. So drawings, you are familiar already with the what is mean by drawings. So we will go in detail to study what is mean by general conditions, special conditions or technical specifications. Okay. Let's see, focus on the here on proposal forms. Okay. Proposal forms, there will be like a form for the contract form, or there is a form for the bid bond, form for the performance bond, there is a form for the list of equipment, list of nominated subcontractors. So different for the retainage, there will be set of forms that are required to be filled by the contractor and submitted to the with the bid or with all the bid package. Okay. So now let's move forward. Remember these, what are the documents in the bid package, and we are going to study these documents in detail. Proposal forms I have explained a little bit. We will start with the general conditions. Okay. But before general condition, they are going to talk unit price bid. Okay. So like bid submission is, we have different kinds of contract. There will be a separate chapter. We will study that what are the types of contract. Okay. So let's say for here is the unit price bid. If we are preparing the unit price bid, so here you can see at the bottom is given item numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there is a quantity take off from the drawings. Like this, rock excavation is unit is cubic yard, quantity is 550. So unit could be cubic yard or cubic meter. And then has the paving, okay, square yard, excavation also in cubic yard. So these are the, like, the quantities are given and unit are given. So description of these works is given. Okay, what is this description? So then contractor will fill the unit price. Okay. So like here, rock excavation, how much price of 1 cubic yard of excavating the rock. Okay. So contractor will put their rate, okay, unit price, and that will be multiplied with the quantity. So come the total price. So by this way, we add up all the item numbers, and at the end, we will get the total price of the project. But in this case, like here, they have item in section number 1, item only 1 to 4. So we will add up these 4 items. So this will be the price for section 1. Okay, section 1, maybe whatever items given here. So it's it's, we call it unit price bid. Okay, bidding based on the unit price. Okay, it means the unit price will remain the same, and so unit price will prevail. Okay, and the quantities will be remeasured in the unit price contract. Quantity will be remeasured with the actual quantity on construction on the site. Okay. So then the total price will also, will be quantity will be multiplied with the actual quantity as built quantity on site. So here, this is like, we can say it's a bill of quantities, bill of quantities, BOQ. Like here also on the right side is shown another figure is a serial number, description, cement, sand, aggregate, door, windows. So you have the unit. Okay, cement is number of bags, or sand is cubic feet, aggregate also cubic feet, doors just numbers 1, 2, 3, how many. So quantity is like cement 300 bags, and sand is 1000 cubic feet. So doors are 8 numbers, windows are also 8. So the unit price is given, and then multiply unit price with the quantity. So total price, and then add up all the total, it will become the project cost. So by this way, we are going to have the bid price. So let's move forward and come back to the bid package. So we are going to discuss general conditions. So general conditions define each contracting party's duties and rights, and the rules by which they are to meet obligations and perform the work they agreed upon. Okay. So general conditions, like this is a book. Some people call it like the Bible, So it's so it's the general condition is a book that we will follow to or any time extension, anything in the project. So we will have to go back to the general condition and supplementary conditions. What the contract says about this thing, in case of conflict, in case of increase in time or increase in prices or change in contract document. So everything we have to go back to these general condition and supplementary conditions book to what the contract says and how the so it's like this book is going to give duties and rights of the parties, okay, and rules and regulation how they have to complete the contract. So now this was what happened is by the EJCDC. EJCDC stands for Engineers Joint Contract Document Committee, and it comprises on American Consulting Engineers Council, National Society of Professional Engineers, American Society of Civil Engineers, and these documents have been endorsed by the Associated General Contractors, AGC of America, Construction Specific Institute, CSI. So these documents have been endorsed by these two organizations. Now, let me explain a little bit to you. Before, because every department was having their own general conditions. So now, because when these contract was written by each department, like Department of Highway or municipality, Riyadh municipality, they write the contract form and they when they make the contract form, so they our contract document, they like to preserve, they keep them safe. So all the risk they are going to transfer towards the contractor. This was the situation. Now then, there was a committee of EJCDC, Engineer Joint Contract Document Committee. They say that let us sit together and prepare the standard conditions of contract, so that every contractor will follow that one, and no one should complain that these documents are inclined towards the owner, or these documents are inclined towards the contractor, or they are more inclined towards the consultant. So it's let's prepare the standard conditions of contract so that every contractor, every department should agree on that one. So by keeping this in mind, these EJCDC, Engineers Joint Contract Document Committee, by involving the American Consulting Engineers Council, by involving the National Society of Professional Engineers, American Society of Civil Engineers, and then Associated General Contractors of America and Construction Specific Institute. So they jointly form this committee, EJCDC, Engineer Joint Contract Document Committee. So they have drafted and prepared these standard documents. Okay. So they have they try to protect the rights of the owner. They try to protect the rights of the contractor. So they have prepared these documents. Similarly, they have prepared documents for the consulting companies, like which they protect the rights of the owner and protect rights of the consulting companies for the design contracts. So this is for the construction contracts. So we learn about general conditions of contract and then special conditions. So special conditions are supplementary conditions. Okay, some people call as condition general conditions part 1 and part 2. Some people call special conditions. Some call supplementary conditions. Okay. So what is special conditions? Modification to the basic articles of the general conditions in the form of addition, deletion, or substitutions. Okay. So additional articles of a contractual legal nature that may be desirable or necessary for a particular project. So now, depending upon the project, how the project look like, so they make changes in the general conditions and make this special conditions book. So special condition book is more specific to the project. Okay. If the project is just only the road work, that means we don't need so many other articles related to building works. Okay, so they will delete those part. If the project is related to wastewater treatment plant, so they will add more articles related to wastewater treatment plant. If the project is related to nuclear power plant, so they will add more articles related to the nuclear power plant. Okay, so this is like this is the modifications to the basic articles of general condition in the form of additions. They can add more articles, or they can delete some articles, or they can replace, substitute some articles. Okay, they can replace some articles. So by this way, this book have preference over the general conditions because this is a project specific, okay, related to the project which reflects the project. So it's if the project is related to water supply, so there will be more articles related to water supply. Or if the project is related to a nuclear power plant, so special conditions will be more articles related to the nuclear power plant. So with this, let's just move forward to the next one. Technical specifications. Standards of workmanship and material standards are defined in the specifications. Now see, now we will prepare a book of specifications first. Based on this book, all the drawings and will be prepared. All the strength of concrete, like if there is a conflict in the strength of concrete on drawings and specifications or some other document, we will go back to the technical specification and see what was the strength for the column given in the technical specification. So that will prevail. That will have the preference. Now to understand this, so the technical specification is going to set standards for workmanship and material standards. Okay, material procurement, so standards will be based on the technical specifications. Now try to understand this technical specification versus standards. So now, here, quality required is established by reference to an accepted practice of quality standards with the American Concrete Institute, okay, American Welding Society, American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, American Society for Testing and Materials, Building Seismic Safety Council, National Ready Mix Concrete Association, Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. So depending upon all these, these are like the list I have just read. American Concrete Institute ACI code. So these are standards. Okay, American Welding Society. These are standards. AASHTO is a standard. ASTM is a standard. Okay. So now, similarly, there are other long list of standards. There are other standards, maybe safety related standard, OSHA standards, or environmental related standards. So there will be a lot of standards. A lot of standards will be, available. So depending upon our project, so if they, like the consultant, when they prepare the book of specification, so if they have to do put something about testing, they will take some part from ASTM and put in the specifications. If they have to talk about something about concrete or design, so they will add some part from the ACI code and put in the book of specifications. So similarly, if there is a highway related work, they will take part from the AASHTO and put in the book of specifications. So standards are like, standards, they are published by these societies, and they are like, you can say it's a standard with the date of publication. Okay, so this is AASHTO 2015, AASHTO 2020. Okay, so it means AASHTO 2020 means that this AASHTO standards are published in 2020. Okay, so ASTM also, ASTM version 2020, 2021 or 2022. By the date of year of publication, they will be mentioned. So this is like, we call it standards. Now, all these book of specification is a mixture of all these standards. Okay, technical specifications. When the consultant prepare the technical specification, so what are the items in the project? According to that, they are going to put those things in the technical specifications. And then that technical specification book is going to set the standard for workmanship and material standards. So every material being purchased, their characteristics, their properties, so it will be given in the technical specifications. And how the workmanship, like this table is the corner is round, or it's 90-degree angle. So how the finishing look like for every surface. So this will be like they have the skilled people that can bring that kind of finishing. So workmanship also, that whatever is required in the specifications, we have to fulfill that. So I hope the book of technical specification is clear to you, and book of technical specification take precedence over all other documents. If in case there is a conflict, so we will go back to the book of technical specification and see how much is the strength of concrete on the drawing or strength of concrete in the book of specification for the column. Okay. So then we will follow the what is given in the original document technical specifications. So with this, we will move forward, technical specifications. Now, next is the word is addenda. Document or information attached or added to clarify, modify, or to support the information in the original documents. An addendum issued by a client during the bidding process become part of the contract document when the contract is awarded. So now see, this addendum means, so it could be addendum number 1, addendum number 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, the first day, the contractor, the consultant or the owner, they issue the contract document to different construction companies for the preparation of the bid. Now, those contractors have taken those documents, and they have, when they go back to their company, they are going to study in detail, okay, and they are going to point out if there is any mistake in the contract documents, okay. So then, if there is any mistake, they will contact the consultant. Now, the consultant will issue a addenda or revised drawing to all those contractors who got those documents, so that every contractor should have the same document. Okay? So that, from the first date of issuing the document until bid submission. Okay? So then this consultant will issue these addenda. So based on that, the document, any change in contract document can happen. So they can issue maybe revised drawing. Okay, this is a drawing. First is revision 0, and this is drawing number 10 with revision 1. Okay, revision 2, revision 3. So they can, there could be many addendas, and all these revised last addenda, all these addenda become part of the contract document when they are going to sign the contract document. Now, next word is what we are going to discuss: pre-qualification. Owner may decide to pre-qualify bidders. Pre-qualification allows an owner to assess if bidders have the necessary financial capacity, technical expertise, managerial ability, or relevant experience to undertake the project. Now, the owner and the consultant, they can pre-qualify those bidding companies. If they think that because when they submit the bid, so then the consultant, they have to evaluate the bid, check the bid in detail. If that there is no mistake, or there is nothing, any unusual thing has been put in the bidding by the contractor, so they will do the bid evaluation. But sometimes they think that for this project is very general project, so maybe 20 contractors or more, or many contractors will submit the bid. So in that case, they decide to pre-qualify. So they will ask the construction company to submit their profile. Okay, what is their financial capacity, how many engineers they have, what is their technical expertise, managerial ability, and their relevant experience to for building this kind of project. Okay. So based on that, they will pre-qualify. Say, for example, 15 contractor submitted their document for pre-qualification, and then the owner and consultant, they will select only 5 contractors. They pre-qualify 5, that these are the top 5 contractors who have relevant experience, good financial capacity, technical expertise, managerial ability. So we will allow only these 5 contractors to take part in the bidding process. So this will make easy for them for the bid evaluation process. So this we call it a pre-qualification. Now let's move to the next slide. The estimate and the decision to bid. An estimate is the calculation of the contractor's cost, including material, labor, and equipment. Okay. Bid offer also include the contractor's profit. After studying the drawings and contract documents, contractor make his decision to submit or not to submit the bid. So now, when contractor, they take those documents, they study those documents in detail, and then so after studying, they are going to make their decision whether they have to submit the bid or they don't want to submit bid for this project. So sometimes the contractors, they don't have much work in hand, so they are desperate to submit the bid and want to get the project. Okay. Sometimes they have a lot of work in hand, so their labor and their equipment, their company is already overloaded, so they are not interested to submit the bid. Or some contractors, they submit bid only for specific projects. Some, like if this contractor is specialized in road work, so they are interested to submit bid only in road work. They will not submit bid in wastewater treatment plant or any water supply project. So depending upon this, contractors, they decide whether they have to submit the bid or they don't have to submit the bid. If they think they can make money, so they will submit the bid. If they think they will not make money in this one, so they will not submit the bids. After studying the document, they make their decision. Now, there are a couple of other definitions given. The process of determining the required material quantities on a job is referred as quantity takeoff or quantity surveying. Okay, so this is like if we or the estimator, so they are going to take off the quantities, or they are going to estimate the quantities, like how many cubic meter of concrete in this drawing, or how many cubic meter of excavation work. So this is, we call it a quantity takeoff. Okay, quantity takeoff. But when we multiply this quantities with the price, unit price, and then we get the total price, so we call it estimate. Okay. So first, let me make clear what is quantity takeoff or quantity surveying. Okay, same thing. Quantity takeoff or quantity surveying, process of determining the required material quantities on a job is referred as a quantity takeoff or quantity surveying. What is direct cost? Okay, cost of material, labor, and equipment. So direct cost is what is in the actual, like the things will become part of the project, material and the labor we consume for building that project, and equipment required for building that project. Okay, cost of equipment, cost of labor, and cost of material. This is we call it direct cost. So what is indirect cost is indirect cost includes overhead for site office or head office. Okay, there is a overhead cost for the site office, or there is a companies, they have their head office. Cost of personnel, security costs, administration costs, cost of utilities like telephone bill, electricity bill, gas charges. So all these things we are going to take as indirect cost. Okay, indirect cost. So some companies, they have their head office in, like a head office in Riyadh, and they have projects in Medina Al Munawwara and Dammam, Makkah Mukarramah, and some maybe Tabuk, maybe Abha, maybe some other area. So At the project site is the site office cost. Okay, and then there is a head office in Riyadh. So there is a head office cost of the head office. Now, next term, what we are going to contractors cost for estimating a project for bid. Contractors cost for estimating a project for bid is approximately 0.25% 25% of the contract. So they have given example is like there is a contract 1 million, 100 million real or 100 million real contract. Multiply by 0.25, so it will be like 250,000. 250,000. So what it means is by doing experiments, so this is like when contractor is going to submit a bid, so maybe 5 contractors submitted the bid, only one contractor will win the bid, will win and sign the contract. 4 contractors, they have their bid was submission of bid was not successful, so they are not going to sign the contract. So it means that every time every contractor is not going to get the project. But bid preparation is going to cost every contract. So bid preparation is this work is usually done in the head office of the company, and very reliable person, they are involved in the bidding process, because this is you have to keep secret your price, because you are is a competition, competitive bidding, so every contractor, other parties, other contractors, they are your competitor at that time. So, but their bid preparation, you spend for bid submission process, there was 90 days for bid submission process for the project. So 90 days, your people, 5, 6 people or 8 people were working regularly, and they prepared the bid, they submitted the bid, but they did not get the project. So it's but bid preparation, like a submission, bid preparation going to cost to the contractor. But when they win the project, so they are going to recover the cost for head office from the project that they are going to win, because construction companies, they have to get run their head office and site office based on the from the projects. Okay. Contractors cost for estimating a project for bid is approximately 0.25%. Okay, so from this you should have got the idea that every preparation of bid is going to cost money to the contractor, but when but they are not successful in every project. So but when they are going to get the project, so they are going to recover these headquarter cost. Okay, with this we will move forward to the next slide. So here just a couple of things. Bid bond, they are going to discuss that bid bond is 3 parties here: owner, and there is a contractor, and there is a surety company or bonding company, okay, who provide the bond. Okay, so there are 3 kinds of usually bonds: bid bond, performance bond, and payment bond. So every contractor have to submit these bonds to the owner. Okay. In USA, these are bonds are prepared, issued by the surety companies, okay, a bonding company. But in Saudi Arabia and other countries, because there is if there is no surety companies backed by the Malia or the from the finance Ministry of Finance, so then these are from the State Bank, Treasury Bank. So then these commercial bank, they can provide bonds for the contractor, and contractors can get the bonds from these commercial bank. Like here we have in Riyadh, you have Al Rajhi Bank, Riyadh Bank, Samba Bank, or many other banks. These commercial bank can issue bonds for you. And then you can get these bonds and submit those bonds. Okay, so let's see. We are going to study these bonds. Just some definitions. A bid bond is submitted by the contractor to the owner to provide guarantees that the winning bidder will undertake the contract under the terms at which they bid. The cash deposit is subject to full or partial forfeiture if the winning contractor fails to either execute the contract or provide the required performance and our payment bond. So now see bid bond. So when contractor is going to submit the bid, so at that time they are going to, with the bid submission, they are going to submit the bid bond also as a guarantee that they have prepared the bid according to the contract documents. Okay. And if they will be the lowest, they will be ready to sign the contract. Okay. Now, if some contract, if they will be the lowest, they will be ready to sign the contract and they will arrange a performance bond or payment bond or insurance, whatever the requirements of the contracts there. So they will move forward with the with, with the owner to build the project. Okay. So this is like bid. They owners usually ask for bid bonds because bidding is they have given 3 months time for bid submission process or 60 days or 90 days. So they don't want that lowest contractor was not ready to sign. Okay. So in that case, they say that if suppose there is a contractor, one contractor, he submitted the bid, so for 100 million project, and uh, his price was like 96 million. Okay, his bid was 96 million. So now he think that they have make a mistake or they don't want to sign the contract. So it means they want to say that we have made a mistake and we don't want to sign the contract. In that case, is bid guarantee, usually that is 10% of the contract amount that will be uh, so what usually owners do, that if the his bid was 96, okay, the next bidder is 98 million. So it means 2 million is different. So then owner has the right that they will keep his 2 million and go to the next higher bidder to sign the contract. So this is the purpose of the bid bond, that to make responsible, only responsible bidders should submit the bid. Not everyone should submit the bid that they don't have the capacity to do execute the project, or they don't have the financial capacity to arrange funding to finance the project. So to build the project, or they don't have a number of equipment or engineers. So they don't have the capacity to execute the project. Okay, so this is like a necessary. Usually, owners want that contractors they should submit the bid bond when they submit the bid to, so that it will be like a guarantee that if they will win the project, so they will be ready to sign the contract and complete the project according to the contract and specifications. So now performance bond. Now, see if once the winning contractor, like the lowest bidder, the winning contractor will arrange the performance bond. So we will read first. A performance bond is a surety bond issued by an insurance company or a bank to guarantee satisfactory completion of a project by the contractor. Winning contractor will arrange and submit this bond to the owner, covering the total amount of the project to ensure his performance. So this will be like contractor is going to submit this bond. Usually the winning contractor or the lowest bidder to whom owner is ready to sign the contract. So then owner will ask him to submit the performance bond for the entire amount of the project. For the entire amount of the project, that they will keep their performance good and they will continue to build the project according to the contract and specifications. Okay, so this will be a guarantee from the contractor during the construction period. Okay, and so usually when they arrange the performance bond and they arrange the insurance, so they submit insurance and performance bond, then the owner is ready to sign the contract and they will return back their bid bond. They will return after signing the contract, they will release or return back their bid bond. Okay. Bid bond for the successful bidders also, and for the unsuccessful bidder also, a bid bond will be returned. So the last bond is payment bond. Okay, the bond that protect the owner, the bond that protect the owner against claims for payment by third parties such as subcontractors and vendors. If the owner has paid the contractor and the contractor did not pay the subcontractors or vendors, then the surety will pay them. So the payment bond is like something what happen is prime contractor, the main contractor, they sign the contract with the owner. Okay. So the after construction owner will pay monthly payment to the prime contractor. Now there will be many subcontractors working on the project. Okay. And all those subcontractors, they have contract with the prime contractor. So then, usually, these contractors, they pay to the subcontractor back to back. Okay, they say, okay, when they get the payment from the monthly payment from the owner, so they will pay to the subcontractor. So some prime contractors, they get the payment from the owner, but they don't pay properly to the subcontractors. So in that case, this is the bond that is going to help, the bond that protects the owner against claims for payment by third parties such as subcontractors and suppliers, vendors. If the owner has paid the prime contractor and the prime contractor did not pay to the subcontractors or suppliers, then the surety will pay. So this is like a guarantee that so in that case those subcontractor, they can submit the complaint to the owner that the prime contractor, they have been paid by you, by the owner monthly, but they are not paying us properly, they are not paying us, so we, in this way we cannot work with you, on the project, and it will slow down the progress or whatever. There are many problems can raise. So in that case, owner can ask that ask the prime contractor whether you will pay or we should pay directly, or we can ask the surety company. Or surety company will involve in these things. So, okay. So similarly, was the in the previous bond, performance bond, surety company will guarantee that they will keep the good performance. Payment bond also will guarantee that the prime contractor is going to pay to the subcontractors. Okay. So otherwise, they can involve the surety company. So with this, my dear students, we have finished the this lecture. I think we have consumed our time. So before we end the lecture, let us say Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Thank you very much. Inshallah. See you next time. Assalamu alaikum.